guys, welcome back to our build of Ruby Cleetus McFarland's auction Corvette C6. Like we mentioned before, there's a couple of parts we will be using, parts we won't be using. One of the parts we won't be using is the hood. But because this is a sort of target top, we're going to go ahead and take our roof off of the sprue. Trim that up as close as we can. Take out sanding stick. We're just going to clean up that small edge here. Okay. Right there. So we've got that part ready. We're going to put that off to the side. And then we're going to go ahead and trim these, the support beam here. It kind of goes across the interior. I'll go ahead and take a hobby knife. Get it as close as we can via shaving. There in the middle. And if you are molding it top down or top off, it's actually very nice that they've molded in detail to the tops of the sun visors here, so they're in that sort of hard plastic texture. But anyways, so I'll go ahead and glue this on top. I'm just dry fitting to make sure everything fits okay. There's very little, once it's all settled in place, that's actually a very good fit out of the box. So we can go ahead and glue this right into place, which is nice. It's nice when everything fits right off the bat. Put a little bit extra in to make sure that we're getting all the way in the seam and the little lip that's underneath. We're just going to press that. I want to make sure it's in a good spot. That's looking very, very nice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a black Sharpie, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of the areas where the mold seam lines are. I'm just going in once or twice just to kind of get a good layer on there. Kind of saves having to go back to the spray booth and spray a black to sort of outline it. Always good to keep a black marker handy. What I'm trying to do as well is I'm not trying to kind of pinpoint it and do an exact line. What I'm trying to do is create enough of the black around the surrounding area to allow me to kind of judge how deep I'm going in the surrounding plastic to kind of fade out an actual mold seam, to make sure it's all gone and it doesn't reappear when sanding, so we don't have those phantom seams. It still might happen, but this way it kind of helps against it. Yeah, we're just going to do this on the front here. And then lay down along the front bumper. That's going to be a little challenging to get to, but I think we've got a blade that can sort that out fairly easy. Alright, so we'll give that a second to sort of dry. And we'll go ahead and grab some 1500 grit sponge paper. Actually, no, we'll go 1500. So just a kind of like little tip, when you get the sponge sanding blocks, it comes in a big flat sheet. What I like to do is actually like to mark them and then kind of pre-cut up to the sandpaper on the back, some little sections that I can kind of easily cut off when and if I need them. I'm going to use a utility blade, it's a little bit thicker. So that way I get the most out of my sandpaper that I'm using, and I'm not kind of I like things sort of even and unified, I guess you'd say. So I'm just going to get some paper towel. I do not. Let me go grab paper towel, I'll be right back. Alright, got it. Get some paper towel to clean this up after. So, this can kind of apply to anything, so I'm just going to kind of soak the sandpaper in the water. Use like warm water is usually the best. And then I'm just going to go over the area of the sandpaper. Excuse me. So as you can probably see here, you see that that line is showing some definition. And as we go ahead and sand this, just kind of following the lines of the body. You'll see that line really start to fade. And you don't need to rush it, you don't need to draw back a whole bunch of material. You can just slowly work at this to make sure you only take as much plastic off as you need. Okay, that should kind of give you an idea of what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I'm going to keep working on this nice and slow, and then we'll come back when this mold seam in particular is gone, and you can kind of see the results. So we'll be right back. Alright guys, we've gone ahead and gotten rid of all the mold seam lines that are running over the body, and we've gone ahead and keyed the rest of the body. So keying essentially means that we're creating a key slot or something for the paint to grab onto. So rather than shiny smooth plastic, we're giving it a little bit more bite by sanding it down with that 1500 grit. So we're going to go ahead and mount this guy up into a spray booth, and we're going to give it a coat of primer. So we'll see you guys in the spray booth. Okay guys, so we've gone ahead and mounted up the body in our spray stand here. You can get these from Tamiya. It's well worth the investment in trying to come up with like a bottle or something else to try and hold it and tape it down. The springs just really help make it nice and sturdy. So we've gone ahead and mixed up some Tamiya, or some Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500 gray, and we've done that 50-50 with lacquer thinner, just straight hardware store lacquer thinner, and we've got an airbrush and we're ready to shoot. Now we're shooting at about 25 psi on my gauge at least, and we're shooting it through a 0.5mm nozzle. So I'm just going to go get my mask and we'll be right back. Alright, so let's start shooting here.
So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to take the paint, I'm going to put it into all the hard to reach, all the recesses that are difficult to get when you get in a broad spray pattern. I'm just going to layer those up quickly with primer just to get them filled and painted. So I'm not going to bore you with the whole process, so I'm just going to stop the video here, and we'll come back when we start spraying the whole body.
Alright, so we've done that. We've got all the small edges here on the side of the wheel arches, all these difficult to get to spots inside the window frames, headlight frames, and everywhere else wouldn't be able to get too easily with just the broad strokes that we're going to do. So, I'm going to go ahead and mix up another 50-50 mixture. Separate it a little bit. So. Spray. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start spraying the whole body now.
And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be holding my airbrush approximately 8 to 9 inches away, maybe a little bit closer depending on the airbrush size. With a 5 I can go a little bit farther away and get a broader spray pattern. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm kind of doing like I would on actual auto body person would, and that's I'm going to go with the side, and I'm going to do about a 50% overlap on all of my paint layers and get some nice coverage going on there. Because the lacquer thinner, it can dry a lot faster, and then I should be able to give it about 10 minutes, put another final coat on it, and I think we'd be good to start throwing color on it after that. So we'll go ahead and start